Hi guys and welcome back to the Mighty Blues. My name is of course Cameron and welcome back today to another live stream. It is the live game preview of our Premier League fixture on Saturday at Goodison Park at 3 o'clock. Finally a Saturday 3 o'clock kickoff at Goodison Park against Sheffield United. We're going to talk about the game in depth today. We're going to go through my predicted starting 11. We're going to talk a little bit more about some of the players that I've thrown in there. We're also going to talk about Sheffield United. Did I say against Sheffield Wednesday then? Against Sheffield United, sorry. We're going to talk about whereabout they are in the Premier League and how they're doing, obviously, on their first game back in there, on their first season, back up to the top flight of English football. We're also going to talk about Phil Jagielka as well, as I'm sure all of you will know. It's Phil Jagielka's first game back at Goodison Park. He won't be wearing an Everton shirt for the first time in over 10 years. He'll actually be sporting Sheffield United's colours. So we're going to talk a little bit about that in today's stream as well. Get in the live comments if you are watching live. Let me know your thoughts on Saturday's game. Obviously, we spoke last night quite heavily about Marco Silva, and more specifically about what's going wrong at Everton and what needs to change and why we can't, put a consistent run of wins together, why we can't go away from home and perform like we do at Goodison Park. We spoke about that in last night's stream, and then obviously we had all the post-Bournemouth game stuff towards the start of the week as well. But it's a fresh game, fresh weekend. Hopefully we can go out there and get the 3 points. Going into it positively, look, there's no point in going into it dwelling on what happened last Sunday. I know it's still in the back of a lot of our heads, but it's important that we get over it, forget about that, and just go into Saturday's game, like I said, with a fresh mind, knowing full well that, again, we're the better team going into this game, and we realistically should be getting the win, and we realistically should be getting the 3 points. Alex says, yes, Cam. Yes, Alex, hope you're doing well. Jonathan says, yo, Cam. Yo, Jonathan, hope you're doing good. And Chris says, hi, mate, hope you're well. Hi, Chris. I hope you're doing well yourself. Just before we get into talking about the game on Saturday, just before we get into talking about Sheffield United themselves, I want to mention a little someone who I watched last night, and actually it was mixed emotions watching him, because in one half it was a bit upsetting, on the other half I was made up for him, and that's Adisa Gay. Look, Adisa Gay, if you didn't know, played for PSG last night. I think he played in 90 minutes against Real Madrid. PSG won the game 3-0, and Adisa Gay absolutely bossed the game, and I mean, he had every single Real Madrid player in his back pocket. He was absolutely unbelievable, and he was proven why, again, that is the level that he should be playing at. And you know what? It was massively sad when he, when he left in the summer, and obviously it was disappointing. We all respected him. We all wished him the best of luck because of how professional he was towards the back end of last season when he didn't get his move in January. And watching him play last night, you can really see that that is his level. He's a world-class midfielder. He's a world-class footballer, and there's no arguments about it. He absolutely ran rings around Real Madrid's midfield last night. He was fantastic for PSG, and again, he was playing that role that we frequently seen him play for Everton, and you were sort of sitting there watching him going, that's exactly what we're missing in our midfield at the minute, is a dynamic midfielder that picks the ball up, that does the dirty work, but that can also play it nicely as well. So, little shout out to Adisa Gay. Obviously, bittersweet watching him play, but you know what, I'm genuinely made up for the lad. I've got no malice towards him whatsoever. He treated us with the utmost respect. We treated him with the utmost respect. He was professional towards the back end of his Everton career last January. He could have sulked, he could have moaned, he could have refused to play, but he didn't. He got his head down and he said, no, you know what, I'm contacted at this football club. These fans paid their money to come and watch me, so I'm gonna put in top performances week in, week out. And I thought he was fantastic towards the back end of last season, and he was absolutely unbelievable last night. Again, whereas we were watching him play the likes of West Ham away or Fulham away from home, he was playing against one of the European giants, if not the biggest club in world football in Real Madrid, and he absolutely ran rings around them yesterday. Fantastic performance by Adisa Gay, and yeah, obviously, please come back to Everton because we massively miss you. But I just wanted to give him a little shout out because I was watching him last night and I thought, you know what, lad, you are boss. And he was replying to Everton fans on Twitter after the game as well. A lot of Everton fans were in his mentions, giving him praise and stuff, and he had the time to take out of his day to reply to them. And I think what we've seen with Adisa Gay is he's left the club now. He's gone on to his dream move. He's gone on to play Champions League football, with a team that he's grew up watching. But it's that good old saying, is that once Everton has touched you, nothing will ever be the same again. And that's exactly what's happened to Adisa Gay. You can very clearly see he's still watching the games. He's still tweeting pictures of him watching the games. He's still cheering on the likes of Luca Dean and the rest of his teammates. So I think it's very clear to say he's still very much an Everton fan and still very much backing us. So obviously, big congratulations to him. Fantastic, not only to see him play last night for PSG, but to absolutely boss the game. Don't know if he got man of the match because I didn't end up watching the post-game stuff, but if he didn't get man of the match, it's an absolute travesty. And then you have Rio Ferdinand come out saying, oh, Zuzagana was boss today. I seen him in Everton and he was good. Yeah, fuck off, lad. Fuck off. He played like that week in, week out for us, mate. He was absolutely quality no matter who he played against, and he proved yesterday that he's not only a decent midfielder, he's a world-class footballer. Jonathan says we missed game massively, but he wanted to go and he deserved the move. Great play and a great guy, spot on. And Arteta when he says, hello Cam, lad, hope you're okay, mate. Haven't been on the streams in a while. Thank you very much for joining now. I'm not doing too bad myself. I hope you're doing well. And he said, thought you were spot on about your match reaction the other day. By the way, mate, thank you very much. Yeah, it was a little bit of an emotional one the other day. I was a little bit angry. I was a little bit frustrated. I was just a little bit bored with that Everton performance, because I've seen that Everton performance multiple times before when we get ourselves hyped up before a game. You know, there's something going into the game and then we just get let down by an absolutely shocking performance. So I was a little bit disappointed, you know, as I'm sure we all were on Sunday afternoon, and I think it come through me into the match reaction. Jeff says, Cam, alright fella. Alright, Jeff, hope you're doing well. Arteta, Money says, shite at Everton and brilliant everywhere else if you listen to Sky. Exactly, yeah. That's what Sky will try and tell you, that, you know, he was okay at Everton. He wasn't too... Fuck off, mate. Fuck off. He's literally ran rings around one of the biggest teams in world football, one of the best teams in Europe. Whether they're in form or not, still got some of the best players in Europe there, and he's ran rings around them yesterday. You know, he was absolutely fantastic, and I can only congratulate the lad. He deserves it more than anybody. But anyway, enough love for Zuzagana. He's left the club now, unfortunately. It's sad to see. You know, you don't like to see it, but enough talk about Zuzagana. He'll be watching on Saturday, I dare say. Whether it's when the game kicks off or a later date, I dare say he'll be playing for PSG. Big game on Saturday for Everton Football Club. Massive game, in fact, because like we said towards the back end, or towards the start of the week, sorry, when we done all the post-Bournemouth stuff, we need to be going on now and beating teams like Sheffield United. We needed to be beating Bournemouth realistically. We needed to be beating Crystal Palace. We needed to be beating Villa. But if we've got a poor away record, which we have at the minute, we've been absolutely shocking away from home this calendar year, then we need to make sure that we're really, really good at home. And teams like Sheffield United, the sides that we should be going into them and thinking, you know what, we should be getting the 3 points here, and we are going to go out and get the 3 points. And you know what, I'm quietly confident about Saturday. Some would say that it's a little bit silly of me to be as confident as I am because of what happened last Sunday, but we see this multiple times with Everton. We've seen it after the Villa game. We come out and we beat Wolves. We've seen it, you know, like I said, multiple times in the past before when we've had absolutely shocking performances away from home, and then we've come to Goodison Park and we've been fantastic the week after. Obviously, Sheffield United currently sitting 15th in the Premier League. They've won 1, drawn 2, and lost 2 out of their 5 games. So haven't had the best of starts, obviously, since coming up from the Championship, struggling a little bit. They had that draw against Chelsea, which was really, really good, 2-0 down, and managed to come back in and pull it back and get the 2-2 draw. However, like I said, not the easiest of starts in the Premier League this season. They've struggled at times. They've struggled to create opportunities. They've struggled to score goals, as the record says as well, only winning 1 of those games, currently sitting 15th. They're a team that are going to come. They're probably going to want to try and frustrate us. They're probably going to want to try and defend. They're probably going to want to try and play for a draw and hit us on the counter-attack. Now, if they'd watched us play Bournemouth last week, they'll look at that game and think, well, all Bournemouth really done for the first 15-20 minutes is sit back, wait for Everton to attack, and then hit them on the counter-attack, and Everton was shocking defensively. So, you know, if Sheffield United... I've watched that game. I dare say they'll approach this one with a similar fashion. They'll look to hit us fast, and they'll look to exploit defensive frailties that we have, and we cannot be as poor as we were on Sunday defensively. We cannot be letting every single ball that comes into the box become a danger. We can't be letting free kicks, corners become opportunities for goals. We need to be getting rid of chances. We need to be making sure we're heading opportunities out, and we're defending like we know we can. At the end of the day, we started the season fantastically defensively. Michael Keane and Yerry Mina looked to have created a real top partnership in the centre of that defence. They were having everything out. They were, you know, positional wise, they were fantastic, and then it all sort of went down the pan over the last couple of weeks, and we need to make sure that we get back to that defensive position that we were at the start of the season, and understand it's a confidence issue for, you know, the likes of Michael Keane, who struggled with his confidence over the last week or so because of his performance for England, but he needs to just, you know, forget about what's happened in the past and look towards the future. And this is a game that if we don't get the 3 points on Saturday, there's going to be some really, really angry Everton fans. I obviously done the live stream yesterday talking about the issues at Everton, talking about what Marco Silva needs to fix, and I said multiple times throughout the stream that I'm not Marco Silva out. This isn't a Marco Silva needs to leave the club live stream. This is just me saying these are some of the things I've picked up on over the last couple of weeks and months that he needs to fix. And there was loads of people in the comments even yesterday saying he's not the right man for the job, get rid of him, you know, he's not good enough, he's not going to take us forward. So if we don't go out there and get the 3 points on Saturday, there's going to be serious pressure by fans on Marco Silva. I personally still think it's far too early to judge him or to make that decision yet. But there's definitely a large majority of fans that are going to be on his toes, on his head, if we don't get the 3 points on Saturday. And you know what? To be fair, you know, it's half rightly so, because these are the games that we should be winning. There's no excuse to not go out and get 3 points against the newly promoted side at home on Saturday afternoon. We've got, you know, a really, really good forward line. We've got some players that are in form. Granted, they didn't perform on Sunday against Bournemouth, but, you know, against Wolves, against Watford, they've been in form. We've got a decent midfield and we've got a strong Premier League defence, and it should be more than enough to you know, breeze past the side that, like I said, have struggled after returning to the Premier League this season. Doesn't mean that anything's guaranteed. Of course, it is Everton Football Club at the end of the day, so we don't know what will happen. I'm just going to tweet today's team out so everybody knows that we are live over on Twitter. Jeff says, what happened on Sunday at Bournemouth wasn't a defeat to me. It felt like I'd been betrayed or something. It was like watching my dreams die. It was pathetic. Exactly, mate. Exactly. It certainly was. If you're enjoying the stream so far, by the way, please do hit the like button. It means an absolute massive amount to me. And if you're new to the channel as well, and this is the first time watching, please hit that subscribe button as well. We're getting close now to 850 subscribers, so if you could subscribe, that'd mean a massive amount to me. Jeff says, it was a spineless capitulation. I literally felt all my optimism just drain out of me. I'm struggling to even care about the next game. Yeah, listen, I think it was one of those games, and I think a lot of people will agree, where you sort of come out of it and, you know, whether Everton win or lose. If Everton win, obviously you come out the game and you're made up and you want to talk about it and you want to watch it again on Match of the Day and you want to really delve into it. And even sometimes when you lose, you want to talk about it and you want to look at it again and you want to see what went wrong and why we were so, you know, why we lost the game of football. But I think Sunday was one of those games where you just sort of wanted to forget about it straight away. And even I did, doing the instant match reaction. You know, I didn't look on Twitter from after that. Doing the game review on Monday, it was sort of like you just wanted to, you know, not think about it and get football and get Everton out to the back of your mind. Obviously, like I said, we can't let that have too much of an effect on us going into Saturday's game, because again, this is another very winnable game, and another game that we should have no excuses to not go out there and get the 3 points. Now, I'm not saying we're going to go out there and blather Sheffield United. I'm not saying that Sheffield United are a shocking team and a walkover, because they're really not. They've shown some quality at times this season. Obviously, they've got Phil Jagielka in there, who we know, okay, he mightn't be, you know, have the physicality, he might have the stamina due to age to play 30-odd games a season in the Premier League, but we've seen what he can do. Even last season, when he had to come in for a couple of games, he performed well for us. So it's not going to be an easy game, it's not going to be a walkover, but you have to have an expectation, and it's hard to have an expectation with Everton Football Club, because we've seen us go and beat fantastic teams of football. We've seen us go and absolutely blather a Manchester City team by 4 goals at Goodison Park when they were performing well, and we've seen us be beaten by, you know, some of the worst teams in English football. So it is really tough to have an expectation being an Evertonian, but for me, I expect for us to go out there and get the 3 points on Saturday. I expect to be at Goodison Park and to win this game of football. Don't get me wrong, listen, if we win on Saturday, I'll be leaving Goodison Park with a smile on my face, and I'll be made up, and I'll be saying that, you know, good win, that good 3 points on to the next one. But realistically, we all should be leaving Goodison Park going, well, yeah, it's a good win, but it's expected, really. We should be expected to be beating teams like Sheffield United at home. And the fact that we're still having the conversation as to that, well, we mightn't, well, it might be different because of the away form, because of how, you know, shocking we've been in recent weeks away from home. That just shows where we are at the minute. And, you know, like I said, there's no excuse for me on Saturday afternoon. Sheffield United are going to come. Like I said, they're probably going to try and sit back and hit us on the break. They know that we can be penetrated that way. Defensively, we still know that, you know, there's defensive errors and there's defensive frailties there, but at the end of the day, we need to surpass that, and we need to go out, use the home crowd to our advantage, use the quality that we have, because we've got more quality on the pitch than they have, and go out there and get the 3 points on Saturday. Jeff says, sorry for sounding so depressing, I'm normally very positive and optimistic, but that was pitiful. I honestly felt nothing. I wasn't angry, I just felt, yeah, that's Everton. Well, it was Everton. It was literally Everton. The whole performance, the whole result, everything around that game of football was, that's Everton. Other football fans were like, oh, Everton could have gone 30, and how have they managed to cock that up? How have you been beaten by Bournemouth? And every single Evertonian just went, because we're Everton, mate. We're Everton. We expect that. You know, that is to be expected, and that's something that Marco Silva needs to massively change, you know, if he's to succeed as Everton manager going forward. Anyway, let's dive straight into my predicted start and 11, because that's why we're here. We're here to talk about the game. We're here to talk about the team that Marco Silva will field. So I've gone for in goal, Jordan Pickford, of course, self-explanatory. He hasn't had an awful season whatsoever, you know, despite some of the goals that he's conceded. I don't think many of them, if any of them, have been his fault whatsoever. So Jordan Pickford retains his place in goal. I've gone for the back four of Luka Dean, Yerry Mina and Michael Keane. Firstly, purely because obviously Luca Dean, again, I don't think he's had an awful start of the season. Obviously, he played very, very well going forward in a couple of games. Defensively, he's been caught out once or twice, but I don't think he's been, by any stretch of the imagination, shocking. Michael Keane and Yerry Mina obviously retained their places if there was a little bit of competition at centre-back. If we'd have brought Kurt Zouma in and we'd have brought another centre-back in the summer, then maybe they wouldn't retain their places. Maybe somebody else would come in. But obviously, there's nobody really out there, that could come in that's of a Premier League quality, in my opinion, that could come in and fill their boots. And I've gone for Seamus Coleman at right back. Now, this is one that I was humming and hawing about for quite some time. I was thinking, do we bring Sidibe in? Do we give Sidibe an opportunity in the Premier League, or do we stay with Seamus Coleman? Now, I thought Seamus Coleman was really, really poor against Bournemouth. I really do. I thought he was really, really poor. Having said that, I don't think he's been particularly poor for the remainder of the season, for the start of the season, sorry. I thought he's done okay. He hasn't looked amazing, but he hasn't looked, shocking either. Sidibe obviously coming for the Lincoln game. He struggled at times. I thought he was okay on the ball. It was just off the ball he struggled positional-wise. Again, it was a real, real tough game to put him straight in there, obviously. And I think, again, the whole team at times struggled against Lincoln. We managed to pull through because of the quality that we had, but obviously conceded a goal within the first 10 seconds of the game. So I think defensively as a whole, we struggled at times. So it was a sort of a flip of a coin, really. I've gone with Seamus Coleman purely because I think Marco Silva will go with Seamus Coleman. I think he'll keep with Seamus. Obviously, he's the club captain. He's the captain of the team as well. We'll be coming up against the former captain in Phil Jagielka, and I just think Marco Silva will understand that this is a game that we really need to go out there and get 3 points in. This is a game that we can't have any messing about. We can't have any, room for bringing in new players and bedding in players. This is a game that we really, really need to go out and get the win, because Marco Silva will be aware that there will be fans and there will be people that are, expecting nothing more than a win on Saturday. And don't get me wrong, it'd be brilliant to batter them 4 or 5-0, but as long as we win the game of football, it can be 1-0, it can be 2-1, I don't care, as long as we get those 3 points. And that's why I think Marco Silva will stay with Seamus Coleman. Like I said, he's the captain, of course, and at the end of the day, he's the more experienced out of the two in this league. I would like to see Sidibe come in at some point over the next couple of weeks, especially if Seamus Coleman, still isn't really, doing it for us. Obviously, like I said, on Sunday he was poor, but the whole team was poor, to be fair to him. And Sidibe has been brought in for competition. He's a World Cup winner. He's played in the top flight of French football for quite some time, so he isn't there to just sit on the bench and be looked at if Seamus gets injured, or be looked at if Seamus gets suspended. He's in there to come in and provide real fight and competition for Seamus Coleman. And if Seamus Coleman isn't playing to a standard that we expect, then he should be out and Sidibe should be in. But I do think Marco Silva will go with Seamus for this one, just because, like I said, it's an important game. We need to get the 3 points, and he's got the more experience. And again, he hasn't had a particularly poor start to the season. He was poor against Bournemouth, but the whole team were as well. So you couldn't really take Seamus out because he was poor against Bournemouth, because then you'd be taking, Snarling out who I've taken out, but you could have the argument for Sigurdsson, Keane, Mina, and it's unrealistic to do that. So I've gone with Seamus Coleman at right back, who of course will take the captain's armband as well. I've gone for the midfield 3 of Fabian Delph, Gylfi Sigurdsson and Tom Davies. Tom Davies is the one that I really, really want to talk about in today's live stream. This again is a little bit of what I would like to see rather than what I think Marco Silva will go with. So obviously Fabian Delph again got a little bit frustrated at his fellow teammates on Sunday afternoon. Rightly so as well. You can understand why. I think he'll keep his place. Obviously, I'm basing this midfield off that Andre Gomes is still injured. We haven't had Marco Silva's pre-game press conference yet. His pre-game press conference is actually tomorrow. We'll be doing a live reaction to that one tomorrow night. So I'm basing this off the assumption that Andre Gomes is still out injured. He's still got that hip injury, or hip injury, I think it was, that he sustained the week prior to the Bournemouth game. So I've gone for Tom Davies in there next to Fabian Delph. Like we said, Fabian Delph, didn't think he was amazing against Bournemouth on Sunday. Didn't think he was particularly shocking either. I thought he struggled in the second half. Like I said, he showed his leadership skills in the first half. He showed that he can lead this team, and he can tell players, if they're not playing well, basically where to go, and that they need to improve, and they need to improve fast. Gylfi Sigurdsson again in the number 10 role. Again, it was one of those where I was thinking, Gylfi Bernard. I'd really like to see Bernard in that number 10 role, but I just don't think Marco Silva will do it. I really don't. I don't think Gylfi Sigurdsson had a fantastic start to the season either. He's got one goal, obviously the penalty against Lincoln, which was a fantastic penalty, don't get me wrong, but again, I think he's struggled at times. I think he's struggled to create. He got a couple of decent assists, but I just think he's been isolated in a couple of games. However, I really can't see Marco Silva choosing anybody other than Gylfi Sigurdsson in that number 10 role. And like I said, the big one I've gone for, Tom Davies in the centre of midfield next to Fabian Delph. Now, for me, the midfield three of Morgan Schneiderlin, Fabian Delph and Gylfi Sigurdsson, we've seen before. I just don't think it works. I just don't think there's enough energy in there. I don't think there's enough pace in there, and I don't think there's enough positivity in there in terms of breaking forward. Something that Tom Davies will give you if he comes into this team is positivity and the willingness to drive forward and want to get the ball to the likes of Sigurdsson, Richarlison, Iwobi and Keane, or whoever plays in that front three. Morgan Schneiderlin doesn't. I don't think Morgan Schneiderlin's a bad footballer. I mentioned this in last night's team. I don't particularly think he's a bad player. I just think he's not being used in the correct place, in the correct positions. I think Marco Silva's putting him in there in a midfield three that already doesn't create an awful lot of opportunities, certainly not Delph and Gomez when they play. So to put Morgan Schneiderlin in here, I think it's just a little bit of a negative midfield. I think it's a little bit defensive, and in a game like this we really should be going out to be putting the most positive team out as possible, and a team that are going to create a plethora of opportunities, a team that are going to create chances and put goals in the back of the net, because at the end of the day that's what we need. I think Tom Davies massively deserves his opportunity. He hasn't had much game time whatsoever this season. Obviously Jean-Philippe Gbamin is still out injured. Andre Gomez may still be out injured. If he's not, I dare say Andre Gomez will come in next to Delph, and Davies probably won't even be in Marco Silva's mind, but I think he deserves it. He was fantastic for England's youth during the international break, and again he's been another top professional. He hasn't spat his dummy. He's understood his position. He's got his head down and he's worked hard, and I don't see why Tom Davies shouldn't be in this team. Morgan Schneiderlin hasn't been putting in 10 out of 10 performances. He's been very average at best. He doesn't create an awful lot going forward. He doesn't create anything because that's not the type of player he is, and we can't really blame him for that. As much of that blame should go on Marco Silva for picking him and us expecting him to be that player. And I think Fabian Delph needs a midfielder next to him that's going to dig deep, going to get his socks dirty, and going to continue to play out. Whether he makes a mistake, whether he loses the ball, whether he runs into a player, he's going to get up and he's going to go again, and Tom Davies is that player, and I actually think Delph and Tom Davies could make a decent partnership in that midfield. Whether Marco Silva will go with Tom Davies is a totally different question, totally different answer, because again I do think there's trust issues there between Marco Silva and Davies. I just don't think he trusts that he's ready to step into the midfield yet, and I don't particularly think he trusts that he's good enough either. But I'd really like to see Tom Davies in there. I don't think Morgan Schneiderlin's been unbelievably fantastic, good enough to nail on a place. Same with Fabian Delph. I think he still needs to improve as well, and even with Andre Gomez when he's in there, there's room for him to improve. So for me, Tom Davies deserves to be in there, and he should start for me on Saturday. Whether Marco Silva will go with that, we'll have to see. If you're watching and you're enjoying today's team, by the way, please do hit that like button. It'll mean a massive amount to me. Jonathan says Jagielka 89th minute goal, can't imagine it. Oh, don't, mate, don't. Please don't. Jeff says Sheffield United play a weird system with centre-halves playing like full-backs. They play 3 centre-halves, and maybe we might go 4-3-3 to combat this. Yeah, they'll more than likely play 3 centre-backs, and I think that'll really benefit Everton. We tend to struggle against flat-back fours. We tend to struggle against simplistic defences. With Sheffield United playing the 3 centre-back partnership, I think it'll give a lot of room for Richarlison and Iwobi to break through and get in behind them, and then obviously Moise Keane or whoever plays in that striker role will then be able to get on the end of balls. So I do think we can use that to our advantage, but it's important that Marco Silva sees that and works on that over the next couple of days and drills that into the players to use that as an advantage. Canuckson says, hey Cap, I hope you're doing well, and Jeff says Cap, yeah, Cap. I still can't believe we got called Chris Evans. Good Soul says, hi Cam, home win Saturday is a must, but we are going to be judged on our next 2 away games to see if we have resolved any of the real issues that we have. Yeah, again, like I said, for me, going out there and getting the 3 points on Saturday against Sheffield United will be fantastic. It'll be brilliant, obviously. It'll be really positive. It's a win. At the end of the day, it's what you want. You can't ask for much more. But I think you're right. It's about the away form, and it's about how we improve going away from home, and it's about how we target those issues that we've seen come up over the last couple of weeks and months. And we probably will be judged over the next couple of away games. We've got Manchester City coming up, again, a game that we probably won't be expected to win, but we're definitely expected to put in a performance and make it tough for them. And of course, we've got got Sheffield Wednesday in the Cup, the Carabao Cup, midweek as well. So, again, 2 games that, we should be looking at putting in decent performances. Definitely should be looking at beating Sheffield Wednesday. And, nothing more than a win, like you said, on Saturday is acceptable for me. Goodson says, Davies definitely deserves his chance. Hasn't done anything wrong when he's played. That can't be said for other players. Seems to get dropped with Bernard when others get a free pass. Fair enough. Again, I think Bernard's very unlucky. I think Bernard could come into this team as well on Saturday. Don't get me wrong, the front three of Iwobi, Richarlison and Keane's very, very exciting, but they haven't lit the Premier League up yet. Iwobi's had a decent start, Richarlison's had a decent start, Keane still needs to settle down, he still needs to get used to the country, he still needs to get used to the league, he still needs to get used to the system, so we may well see Bernard in there. Obviously he performed very, very well when he played against Watford in the first home game of the season, scored the goal, so, I agree. Jeff says, I wonder if the players are being overcoached. They seem confused sometimes, like they're thinking about what to do rather than it being natural. You know what, it's a really, really good point actually. I agree. I think the players do at times on the pitch see sort of, they appear to be not understanding where they need to be, and like you've said there, things not coming naturally to them. I don't know whether it's a case of overcoaching or whether it's a case of that they need to improve that and they need to nail that down. But it's a good point. Jeff says it's like driving or typing the best. Don't think about it, they just do it without thinking. It's second nature. Fair enough. Really, really good point. And Kanasuke Kennedy says 1-0 for us. I hope so, mate. I hope so. Listen, as long as it's a 3 points, then you can't really complain, can you? I'd love to go out and blather them 4, 5, 6-0, but it's probably not going to happen, is it? And as long as we go out and get the 3 points, that's all that matters. So anyway, yeah, like I said, that's my midfield 3. Let me know your thoughts on that and the defence in the comment section down below. If you're watching live, get your live comments in now so we can discuss them on stream. If you're watching as a YouTube video afterwards, then get them in the comment section down below and I'll do my best to get involved and reply to as many of them as possible. If you're enjoying today's team, by the way, please do leave a like. It means a massive amount to me. Eugene says Marco Silva has 2 games to save his job. I don't think so, mate. I don't think so. I don't think the board... personally, I don't think he should be sacked yet. I don't think it should be considered yet. I think it's very, very early. I think there's definitely questions and definitely things he needs to improve on, and there's things that the board, Farhad Mashiri, Marcel Brands, Bill Kenwright, etc., should be looking at and should be monitoring over the next couple of weeks and months. But I still think it's a little bit too early to be talking about sacking him. I think a lot of fans are in that mind, especially after Sunday's performance, but I don't think the board would do that, certainly not this early on into the season. So anyway, yeah, Phil Jagielka, let's move on to talking about Phil Jagielka. Oh no, we haven't even finished the predicted starting 11 yet. What am I talking about? That's my midfield 3. Let me know your thoughts on that one in the comment section down below. Front 3 have gone for Alex Iwobi, Richarlison and Moise Keane up top. This is probably just because it excites me the most. Again, it's something that I can see Marco Silva going with. It's a very, very positive front 3. It's a very, very creative front 3 coming up against a team, like we said, with 3 centre-halves, a team that we can exploit, we can get behind, and a side that defensively have had their problems this season as well. Now, there's possibilities with this starting 11. Marco Silva might persist with Dominic Calvert-Lewin. I doubt it because I don't think he played, particularly well on Sunday. He got a decent goal, to be fair to him, but I don't think his overall performance was that brilliant. He might put Bernard in there, of course, who again has struggled for chances this season and when has played, has genuinely played well. But I do think the easiest option to go with is Iwobi on the left, Richarlison on the right, and Moise Keane up top. Again, like we said, Sheffield United play in a system that sees them play with 3 centre-halves. Again, it's a system that likes of Alex Iwobi with his pace and with his technical ability, he can breach past, again with Richarlison as well, and they can make way then for Moise Keane in the box. Richarlison will obviously get into the box as well as he usually does. So I think, as in terms of a front 3, I think that's as good as any at the moment for Everton. I wouldn't be overly frustrated if Bernard was in there. Again, I know there'd be uproar if Dominic Calvert-Lewin was in there. I don't think he will be in there. I think Moise Keane will start as a striker. Interesting to see whether Cenk Tosun has a shout. Would Cenk Tosun be a possible starter? I don't think so. I don't think Marco Silva would throw him in from the off, but it'd be interesting to see if he at least makes the bench and maybe comes on in some form during the game. But that's my predicted starting 11. That's my front 3, like we said. Let me know in the live comments if you're watching live what you think about that, and in the YouTube comments as well, and we'll get discussing that one. Anyway, now finally moving on to Phil Jagielka, of course, signed for Sheffield United in the summer after years, over a decade at Everton Football Club. Captained Everton for multiple years as well. An absolute Everton legend in my eyes. Probably the right time to leave the club. Again, like we said, there's no room for sentiment in football. He wasn't getting much game time whatsoever. When he come in at times last season, he done well for a couple of games, but then when he had to play, a string of games, you could see that there was fitness issues, you could see that there was stamina issues, and he just wasn't quite up to it to play consistent games at that level, especially where we wanted to be towards the back end of last season. It's his first game back at Goodison Park, the first time returning to Goodison Park since leaving the club in the summer. He said midweek that Everton at home, Everton at Goodison was the first fixture he looked for when the fixtures were released for Sheffield United. It'll be brilliant to see Jagielka back at Goodison. He'll get a standing ovation, no doubt. The fans will be behind him, and you know, again, another player that we're really, really appreciative of everything that he's given to the club over his over the past 10 plus years that he was here. Obviously captain in the club as well. Sad that he never got to lift a trophy with Everton, but again, it's not going to be a negative response for Jags on Saturday, and it'll be really, really nice to see him back at Goodison, and hopefully he has an absolute stinker and Moise Keane manages to rip him to bits 3 times and scores, and that's it. But anyway, yeah, like I said, a massive game for us on Saturday. For me, nothing other than a 3 points will do. Nothing other than a 3 points is acceptable. We need to go out there, we need to show that, you know, we are the better team both on paper and on the pitch. We need to go out and show that we've got the more quality, and at the end of the day, like we said, we need to go and get back to winning ways. Now, really shocking defeat to Bournemouth last week. We now need to, you know, go out there, get a big 3 points, and take that into the midweek game against Sheffield Wednesday in the Carabao Cup. Again, go out there, get another win, progress in that cup competition, and then you're going into the Manchester City game, you know, positively, much more positively than we would if we'd struggled in these 2 games. So yeah, big game for me. Really important that we just focus on this one. Let's not think too much about Sunday's result. Let's not think too much about Sunday's performance. Big opportunity to get a win. Big opportunity to get an important 3 points, and a big chance for our attacking players to really show what they're made of. And you know, whether it's Iwobi, Keane, Richarlison, Bernard, Keane, Richarlison, Bernard, Calvert-Lewin, Richarlison's big opportunity for these players to get in there and really show what they're about. Good Soul said, if we don't improve our away form over the season, do you think Silva will still be here next season? If we continue in the away form that we're going, I think it could be a real possibility that he leaves the club. Away form is something that we've seen many managers be sacked with in the past, not just Everton managers, but managers of other clubs as well. So it's definitely something that he needs to improve on, 100%. Jeff says, Eugene, if we draw or lose on Saturday and go out the cup at Sheffield Wednesday, then yeah, fair enough. Eugene says, who will you buy in the January transfer market for Everton? I think we need a centre-half. Marco Silva doesn't like to buy in January. He doesn't like to bring players in January. But I definitely think we need a centre-back. And, you know, depending on the situations in terms of forward players, midfielders as well, they'll all, I dare say, be looked at in January. And Goodsoul says, love Jags, great saving to the club, but like you said, Obi has a stinker and we win 3-0. Exactly, he's not an Everton player anymore, still no room for sentiment. We'll clap him when he comes on the pitch at the start, and we'll clap him when he leaves the pitch at the end, but hopefully he has an absolute stinker and falls on his ass 3 times and we win the game by 3 goals. Anyway, that's going to do it for today's live stream. Please do hit the like button if you have enjoyed it. It'll mean a massive amount to me. Like I said, please do subscribe if you're new to the channel as well. We're getting close to 850 subscribers now, on the road to 1,000, of course. Massive thank you for all of the support recently. It means an absolute massive amount to me. Don't forget to go and follow us on Twitter as well, at Mighty Blues YT, of course. Like we said at the start of the stream, Marco Silva's pre-game press conference to Saturday's game against Sheffield United is tomorrow at around lunchtime, so we'll be covering that on our Twitter account, and then we'll be doing a live post press conference reaction a little bit later on in the night when I've got home from work and I've had my diving lesson and I've managed to settle down and delve into some of the quotes from the press conference. So big thanks to everybody for watching live as per usual. If you're watching a YouTube video afterwards as well, massive thank you for watching. Get your thoughts and comments in the comment section down below and we'll be going through them as well and replying to them. Jeff says we'll more than likely just loan a centre half. Probably, mate. I would expect that. I would expect that more than going out and spending 40 odd million pounds on an average centre half, because that's genuinely how the January transfer market works. Good Soul says, nice one, Cam, nice one, Good Soul. Really, we do appreciate you getting involved as per usual, as for everyone else as well. And Jeff says, cheers, Cam, latest fella. Thank you very much, Jeff. See you later. I hope you all have a fantastic evening. Big game on Saturday. Big opportunity for us to get the 3 points. Nothing less than a 3 points is acceptable. Let's go out there and let's show that, you know, we are a real decent team, and we've just got a few issues that we need to sort of nail down. But anyway, big thanks for watching. Massive thanks to everybody for getting involved. Like I said, don't forget to join us tomorrow night to go through Marco Silva's pre-game press conference. Follow us on Twitter if you haven't already. Please do subscribe if you're new. Like the video if you have enjoyed, and I'll see you soon on the Mighty Blues.